Hello, this is Pastor Steve Kienberger from First Lutheran Church in Astoria, Oregon, with a series of daily Holy Week meditations. I pray you are all well as we practice safe distance during this COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, we cannot gather as usual for our festive worship services during this Holy Week. So I wish to provide brief meditations on the events surrounding the Passion of Jesus for each day of the week. I pray these meditations will provide a moment of respite for you. These meditations are based on works by the German sculptor and woodcarver Tilman Riemenschneider. I will combine Holy Scripture with writings by the late German pastor and martyr Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was killed on April 9, 1945, just 3 weeks before the war ended. He was a co-conspirator in the assassination attempt on Adolf Hitler. April the 9th is acknowledged in our Evangelical Lutheran Church in America as his Commemoration Day. Tilman Riemenschneider was one of the most prolific and versatile sculptors of the transition period between late Gothic and Renaissance. He was born around the year 1460 in Heiligenstadt, in present-day Thuringia, or in German Thüringen. That means he was born 560 years ago, and although you may not know the region he came from, you've probably heard of its capital city, Erfurt, where Martin Luther attended university and was ordained as a priest in the Erfurt Cathedral. Around 1473, Riemenschneider learned the trade of sculpting and woodcarving, likely in Swabia or the Upper Rhine, possibly in Strausberg and or Ulm, the city of Ulm. At that time, the statutes of the Guild of Sculptors required that an apprentice travel to many different workshops to gain experience. Now, very little is known about this period of his life, but he likely came in contact with the work of Martin Schongauer. In 1483, the year of Martin Luther's birth, Riemenschneider settled in Würzburg. He married Anna Schmidt in 1485 and became a citizen of Würzburg, which gave him certain privileges for his craft. By 1500, he had developed an outstanding reputation as an artist and had become a wealthy Würzburg citizen. From 1509 until 1522, he was a member of the town council 4 times. During the German Peasants' War, Riemenschneider was one of the town council members who refused to obey an order by Konrad von Thüngen, the Prince Bishop of Würzburg, to fight the revolting peasants. On the 4th of June, 1525, the peasants' army was destroyed with 8,000 killed just outside Würzburg. After the town surrendered, the full town council, including Riemenschneider, was incarcerated and tortured in Marienberg Fortress. The claim that both of his hands were broken during the torture, which ended his artistic career, is today considered to be a legend without base in fact. Until his death on the 7th of July, 1531 in Würzburg, he led a retired life with his 4th wife, and his son Jörg, from his second marriage, continued the workshop after his death. Riemenschneider is seen today as one of the first sculptors of the 15th century who did not have all his figures painted. Prior to the 1490s, almost every sculpture had been painted in several layers by a different artist, who often attracted more admiration than the sculptor. The reasons for shifting to a new type of aesthetic where the wood was visible, are still debated by art historians. The results, however, speak for themselves in Riemenschneider's work with the fine, lifelike detail that he carves into each figure and scene. In April 1501, Riemenschneider received the contract from the mayor of the city of Rothenburg ob der Tauber to make the Holy Blood altar. The altar was completed in 1505 and is made up of 3 panels. The left panel depicts Jesus' entry into Jerusalem. The disciples follow behind him with John and Peter in the lead. The city leaders with whom Jesus will soon be in conflict appear just inside the city gate. The middle panel portrays Jesus at the Last Supper with his disciples. Judas, money bag in hand, is signaled by Jesus to come take this bread. Hesitant, Judas receives the piece of bread given to him by Jesus. Now Judas stands at the center of this scene, and we will talk more about this later in the week. The announcement of betrayal, however, unleashes an atmosphere of bewilderment among the disciples. Peter crosses his arms as an act of self-assurance. Though all become deserters because of you, I will never desert you, he says to Jesus. Others show shock, dismay, or wonderment at this ominous moment. The right panel draws us into the action in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus kneels before a stone wall in prayer. His companions, Peter, John, and Jacob, lie asleep. The force who have come to arrest Jesus push through the gate to the garden in the background. Notice Jesus leading them with the bag of money in his hand. It seems that they are hesitant to disturb Jesus in his hour of prayer. Later, we will comment on how uncanny it is that the face of Judas almost matches that of Jesus. The second altar we will look at this week is one that was made for the chapel of St. Michael in Rothenburg ob der Tauber. It depicts the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus and is also made up of 3 panels. The altar was found in pieces in 1653 and put together for the Church of St. Peter in Detwang in Taubertal. The left panel depicts again the Garden of Gethsemane. The middle panel shows the crucifixion with the women and John, Jesus' disciple, to the left of the crucifixion, and to the right is the centurion and his entourage. The right panel depicts the resurrection of Jesus as the women come to visit his tomb on Easter morning, according to Matthew chapter 28. The guards lie about, waking from their sleep or dazed by Christ's appearance. Tomorrow, we will begin our meditation with the entrance of Jesus into Jerusalem and look at the elements as Riemenschneider depicts them in the Holy Blood altar. May your day be safe and blessed as we conclude with Dave Drury's arrangement of Be Thou My Vision and the first and last verses of that song. Thank you, and God bless you.